Out of Abraham, who did the Lord say, tell Abraham who the chosen people would be?
The chosen people?
Yes.
The Jews.
Right. Which come out of whose seed?
Isaac.
Oh, okay, good. Very good.
First and foremost, give all praises to the Most High Yahweh Shai for guiding us to here on his new moon. And as we know, what does the new moon signify? Who knows what the new moon signifies? Shamiala.
Beginning of the month.
The beginning of the month. Yeah. The new moon signifies the beginning of every month. What color is the new moon? Quora.
Black.
It's all dark. So tonight's class we're gonna go over the new moon. What is it? What is it for? How is it represented? How do we know when the months begin? How the weeks begin? And what each moon stands for. So the first scripture we're gonna go to is in Genesis chapter 1 and 14.
Everybody got it? Reading out of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 14. And Yahweh said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days and years.
Go ahead.
And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon the earth. And it was so.
Go ahead.
And Yahweh made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also, and Yahweh set them in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon the earth.
Yeah, so the Most High said he created two great lights. Now, what were those two great lights that the Most High created? So what? What's the two great lights that the Most High created? Louder. What else? The sun and the moon. Come. Yeah. What day was that created on? Who knows what day that was created on? It was created on the fourth day. Of course, I know there's a couple of Israelite groups out there and other groups that believe that the new moon is the Sabbath. You start counting the Sabbaths from the new moon. So we're going to cover that a little bit tonight. Because what day is the Sabbath?
Friday, sundown, Saturday, sundown.
What day?
Seventh day.
The seventh day. So you don't have to be a mathematical genius to know if the Most High created the moon on the fourth day, right? Let's do a little math here. Who here is good on math? Nobody? Okay. Who's good on? You good on math? Math.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. The Most High created the moon on the fourth day, right? What kind of moon would that be? Would it be a full moon, quarter moon, half moon, new moon? What moon would it be? Come on, that's not a hard question.
Say full moon.
It would be new.
Come, because it never was before.
If he just created it, it would be new. All right? The Most High, if you just bought a car Would it be a used car? If you just bought a brand new car, it would have to be a new car. A baby is just born. It's a new baby. You know? So when the Most High created the moon on the 4th day, it was a new moon. And what day did he rest? What day? He rested on the 7th day. Come?
Come.
So from the 4th day to the 7th day is how many days? 3 days, right? So the Most High said he worked for 7 days and he worked for 6 days and rested on the 7th. So how could the new moon be the Sabbath? Why didn't the Most High just rest when he created the new moon? They say that the new moon is the Sabbath, right? So why didn't the Most High rest when he created the new moon? Because those two entities are separate. The 7-day Sabbath, when you determine when the Sabbath begins, is totally different from the new moon Sabbath. See, in Israel, we have many Sabbaths. The new moon is a Sabbath. High Holy Day is a Sabbath. The Passover, Tabernacles, Day of Atonement, these are all Sabbath days. But they're different from the 7-day Sabbath. The 7-day Sabbath goes back to the creation. So let's go to Psalms 81 and 3. We're going to read a little bit about the new moon and the feast. Psalms 81 verse 3.
Psalms chapter 81, verse 3. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed on our solemn feast day.
Yeah, so the new moon is a feast day. It's a Sabbath, right? We're going to go to that scripture next. But the Most High said to blow up the trumpet. See, we just blew up the trumpet. The new moon. What does the trumpet signify? Well, what did Israel use trumpets for?
Call the congregation.
Yeah, to call the congregation, to call for war. The trumpets was used for different events. So the Most High said on the new moon, blow up the trumpet. It's a feast day. In other words, if it's a feast day, can you cook? Can. Can you clean? Can. On the Sabbath day, on the weekly Sabbath, can you cook? Can you clean? So how can you get the two confused? Two different entities. Get me Isaiah 66 and 23. Read that.
Isaiah chapter 66, 23. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, says the Most High Yahweh.
Yeah. From one new moon to another. How many new moons are there in a year?
13. 12, 13.
Technically,
Which one?
I'll say 12.
Technically 12. If there's 13 new moons, what would you call that?
Leap year.
A leap year.
Blue.
Blue?
Blue moon.
Okay. A blue moon, a new moon, the leap year. How often does a leap year come?
Every 4 years.
That's what Esau taught you. Right? Now, we're going to get into that also. Does February determine if it's a leap year? Because some people say, well, if there's 29 days in February or 28 days, then that's a leap year. And that comes every what? 4 years? But we as Hebrews, we don't use those calendars. Our calendar is what? What kind of calendar does the Most High use? A lunar calendar. Yeah. We use a lunar calendar. And in a lunar calendar, we use the moon to determine our years and months. Now, every 2 to 3 years, there's a leap year. I'm going to show you a moon. This is a moon phase calendar for the next 6 years. And I'm going to show you how Israel gets their leap year. Let me buy that pen. This is for 2013 right here. Now, this right here, March 11th, is the new year for 2013. I know y'all can't see it back here, but later on you can, come up and take a look at it. March 13th. Now, in order to count the amount of moons in a year, you'll go from one new year to the next, from March to March. And we're going to count how many new moons come in between there. So from here we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You got 13 new moons in between March next year and March 2014. Now we're going to go down from 2014 to 2015. So you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So from 2014 to 2015 is not a leap year. Now from 2015 to 2016 we're going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So from 2015 to 16 is not a leap year. But when you go from 2016 to 2017, let's see, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 new moons from 2016 to 2017. So you see the intervals when the leap year comes? Every 2 to 3 years. And if you keep on going on and on, you will see that every 2 to 3 years you would have a leap year. A lunar leap year. Everybody understand that? So let's go back to Genesis 1. Read verse 16 again.
Genesis chapter 1 verse 16. And Yahweh made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And Yahweh set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness And Yahweh saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day.
The evening and the morning was the fourth day. So the new moon that the Most High created here on the fourth day was not a Sabbath. It was not the beginning of the week. The beginning of the week began here in the first and second verse. And then he counted on. Then you get down to the, get me Genesis 2 and verse 2. But let's start at 1.
Genesis chapter 2, verse 1. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day Yahweh ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And Yahweh blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which Yahweh created and made.
Yeah. On what day? What day the Most High rest?
Seven.
The seventh day. What day was the moon created? The fourth day. The seventh day is the day of rest. The 7-day Sabbath. The fourth day, the new moon, is a Sabbath also, but it doesn't determine the weekly Sabbath. I got a question. Ben asked this question the other day. If you was blindfolded, taken into the wilderness and dropped off, didn't know what time it was, how would you know when the Sabbath is? Would you be able to tell? Who said yes? How can you tell? How can you tell? I want to know.
Well, usually when Gad used to find out the day, the time, they used to look at the direction of where the wind was going or the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So
Suppose there's no wind. You're in the middle of the desert. But you know, I don't know about that method, but what did the Most High give us for signs, seasons?
The moon.
The moon. The moon, the stars, the sun, everything. Everything out there in the celestial realm. What do they call it today? What would they call those
horoscope?
who? No. What would they call the host of the stars and the sun and the moon and the alignment and all? What would they call that? Astrology, the zodiac, right? We all, you know, if you open up the newspaper, you'll see the daily horoscope, right? And in the daily horoscope, what does it tell you? It tells you, well, the moon is lined up with Venus, and because it's lined up with Venus, that this vibration is going to be in the earth for this day.
Is that wrong?
Every day have a different vibration that comes from the moon.
Yep.
Can?
Characterizer? Yeah, Esau knows that. Even though he used for the negative, what he has in the paper is right. But he's using it on the negative side. It's not the positive. But that's true. That's true to it. That's how everything runs off the earth, off of vibrations. Off of the heavenly vibrations. You understand? Go ahead, Karate.
Yeah, so if you knew how to read the stars, you would be able to tell when the first day to the last day is. Just by looking up and reading what the stars are putting out and what it's lined up with and what vibration is putting out. I had a book here for a while. You all might have heard of it. What was when you read in Revelations, what was the celestial realm used for? Mike?
Wasn't it astrology?
Yeah, but what was it used for? Get on Revelations 20, 22, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, read 22 and verse 2. But let's start at 1. So we can establish where this is located.
Okay, we're reading out of Revelations chapter 22, verse 1. And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of the Most High and of the Lamb.
So now we have established. So who's speaking here? This is John speaking, right? Mm-hmm. And the angel is showing him what? A clear river of water. Was it right there on earth with him?
No.
Where was it?
Heaven.
It was heaven. It was coming out from the throne of the Most High and of the Lamb. So in other words, what would John have to be doing to see this? He'd have to be looking up. Right? And when he looked up, what did he see? Read on.
In the midst of the street of it, and of either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations.
Yeah. So what's this street it's talking about? He's in the midst of the street of it. What's the street?
Something that in street in the literal sense, something where people or cars or anything move about freely. Traffic, it's a traffic.
Okay, and what does it, let me put it in a different way. When you read in Genesis, because this goes back to Genesis, right? In the beginning. What did the Most High create to separate the air we breathe and the air that's outside?
The ozone layer.
The ozone layer, the firmament. That's the street. So within the street, he said, in the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river represents what? The water that's on the outside and the water that's on the inside. He said there was a tree of life.
That's symbolic, the tree is symbolic.
Yeah. Which bare 12 manner of fruit and yielded her fruit every month. What do they call that today? Go ahead, say it.
Zodiac.
The zodiac. Every month, you know, they would come out. Well, from this month, from this day and that month to the next month, well, is this sign, and the next month is that sign, so on and so forth, depending on how the stars and the sun and the moon align. And he said, what was it for? For the healing of the nations. So, when so it's showing you here that the ozone, not the ozone layer, but the zodiac or the astrology is for healing. Now let's take this on a physical level. When does your body heal itself?
Nighttime.
Nighttime, right? What are you doing at night?
Rest.
You're resting, right? What is a Sabbath day? A day of what? Day of rest, right? So if your body has a specific time that it heals itself when it's at rest. So when the ozone layer, I mean, I keep on saying the ozone layer, when the zodiac is lined up in a certain way, it is gonna put forth the vibration of what? Healing. And when that vibration is put out, what are you supposed to do to absorb that vibration. You're supposed to rest. Because on the seventh day, from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, the zodiac puts out a vibration of healing. And that day is a day which is a Sabbath. Now this guy here, his name is what?
Kevin Trudeau.
Kevin Trudeau. I don't know if he's Amalek or Italian, but he sounds like an Italian name. But he come up with a book called Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About. It's an old book. But on this page here, page 139, I'm going to read it here. He said, rest from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. That's the heading of it. He said, each week the moon cycles are in positions to promote healing and rejuvenation in the body. Resting during this time promotes the optimal rejuvenation of your cells. So this isn't something that you can just make up. Like I said, if you can read the stars, you would know when the true Sabbath begins. You know? Everybody understand where I'm coming from? Okay, good. So we're going to move on. Let's go to Exodus 20 and 11. We're going to get into the Sabbath there a little bit.
Can we read now the Exodus chapter 20, verse 11.
Start at 8.
Verse 20 and 8. Remember the Shabbat day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Shabbat of the Most High Yahweh our power. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Most High made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord Yahweh blessed the Shabbat day and hallowed it. Honor thy father.
Okay, that's it. Yeah. That's showing you once again, the Sabbath day is what day? The seventh day, going back to the creation. Now, I'm going to prove one more point to show you that if you use the new moon as a Sabbath and you count your weekly Sabbath from that new moon, it is logically impossible to come up with certain feast days.
Come. And Passover.
Not just Passover, but the let's go to Leviticus. Leviticus 23. Let's see if there's a calendar. Bring me that calendar in the back. Read Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 15.
Reading out of Leviticus chapter 23 and 15. And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Shabbat, from the day that ye brought the sheaf of the wave offering. 7 Shabbats shall be complete. Even unto the morrow after the 7th Shabbat shall ye remember 50 days. and ye shall offer a new meat offering unto the Most High. You shall bring out of your habitations 2 wave loaves of 2/10 deals. They shall be of fine flour. They shall be baken with leaven. They are the first fruits unto Yahweh. And ye shall offer with the bread 7 lambs without blemish of the first year, and 1 young bullock, and 2 rams. They shall be for a burnt offering unto Yahweh, with their meat offering and their drink offering, even an offering made by fire of sweet savour unto the Most High.
Yeah. So in this high holy day, a war. See if there's another calendar in the box there, because this one is missing the date that I'm looking for. We could still use this, but I actually wanted to get one with the Passover on it.
No.
No? Okay, so we're gonna compromise. Now, we're gonna do some more math. We're gonna do some more math. So all the mathematicians, pay close attention. Now it says on verse 15. It says, you shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that you brought in the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Sabbaths shall be complete. Right? Now, this isn't the right calendar, but we're going to use it just for edification. Right here, which is Wednesday in December, you have the new moon. Now, if the new moon is the Sabbath, and you count from the new moon 7 days to get your next Sabbath, we're going to count 7 Sabbaths and 1 day, and see if we come up with 50 days. Con?
Come.
Okay, so we're going to start right here, which is a Wednesday, and we're going to count 1 Sabbath, 2 Sabbaths, 3 Sabbaths, and you notice here the new moon has changed. So we're going to go from 3 Sabbaths and the new moon, which would make it a Sabbath, right? So this will be 4 Sabbaths, 5 Sabbaths, 6, 7 Sabbaths, plus 1 day, which would bring us to this day right here, February the 1st. Now we're going to see if 7 Sabbaths, if you're using the new moon as your Sabbath, plus 1 day would end you up on February the 1st. Okay, so we're going to start right where we started off here. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. 51. How did that happen? How did you count 7 Sabbaths and 1 day and you end up with 51 days? It doesn't matter whether you start in December or whether you start in March, the new year. It's impossible if you're using the new moon as your focal point for the Sabbath to count 7 Sabbaths and 1 day and get 50 days. Impossible. Do the math. So let's read that again.
From the 15?
Yeah, read 15, because 15 and 16 is a little confusing.
Leviticus chapter 23, verse 15. And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Shabbat, from the day that ye brought the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Shabbats shall be complete. Even unto the morrow after the 7 Shabbats shall ye remember 50 days.
Shall you number?
Shall you number 50 days.
See, that's where a lot of people get confused too. Some people say, well, you know what, you got to number 7 Sabbaths and number 50 days. Is that right?
No.
Because if you have 7 Sabbaths and you add 50 days onto that, you're not going to get 50.
That's what close to 100.
Yeah.
It is like 99.
Because when you read in the book of Acts, this same feast day is called what? Day of Pentecost. Why is it called Pentecost? What does penta mean?
50.
50. Leading you right back to Leviticus. So if you read this and you get a little confused and say, well, it says to count 7 Sabbaths, and then the morrow after the Sabbath, I got to count 50 more days to get the first fruits, because brothers are doing that too. You're wrong. The first fruits is Pentecost, meaning the 50th day. So you're going to count 7 Sabbaths, which is how many days?
49.
49 days. Plus 1 day would give you what? 50 days. Not 7 Sabbaths and 50 days.
I just say correctly. 49 days plus the sundown, which is the 1 day. Mention that sundown because they have a problem counting the sundown to sundown too.
Yeah, once we get into calculating how we get the new moons, because figuring out when to begin your feast days is no easy task. That's why a lot of people, a lot of Israelite churches, they just follow what Esau do. You know? If Esau say the new moon is on the 11th, they keep their feast day on the 11th. Not knowing how to calculate when the moon rises, when the moon sets, when the sun rises, and when the sun sets. Because when do our days begin?
The sun go down.
Begins when the sun go down, from evening. From evening to evening is our days. So if your feast day, if the moon rises after a certain time, are you supposed to begin that new moon, the sundown, following the time that it rises, or are you supposed to start it before? Am I getting you all confused? No? Okay. We're going to get into that a little later. So let's read that one more time.
15.
Yeah.
And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Shabbat, from the day that ye brought the sheaf of the wave offering. 7 Shabbats shall be complete. Even unto the morrow after the 7th Shabbat shall ye number 50 days, and ye shall offer a new meat offering unto the Most High. Ye shall bring out...
All right, that's good. That's good. Yeah. 50 days. Now let's go back to the Sabbath. Because the Sabbath is also a problem too. You know? Did Yahushua keep the Sabbath?
Correct.
Because a lot of people say, well, nobody knows when the Sabbath is. Some people say, well, the Sabbath is on Monday. They say it's on Sunday. We say it's from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. It's a lot of confusion, right? Which day is it really? When Yahushua walked the earth, who was in rulership?
Romans.
Who was in rulership?
Romans, Esau.
The Romans, right? What calendar did they have? Did they have a calendar?
Okay.
Oh, what calendar was it?
Julius.
What was it called?
Julius.
Julius?
Gregorian calendar.
The Julian calendar. The Julian calendar. Yeah. They adopted the Julian calendar in about 45 BC. And from 45 BC up until Yahushua was born, walked the earth, died, was crucified, even the apostles kept the Sabbath. Let's prove that. Let's go to Luke 13 and 10. Okay, read that.
Okay, reading out of Luke chapter 13, verse 10. And he was teaching in one of the synagogues on the Shabbat.
Yeah. Who was that teaching? Yahushua. He was teaching on the Shabbat day. Did Yahushua know what the Shabbat day is? He said he's the Lord of the Sabbath, right? So obviously he should know when the Sabbath day is, right? Now if back then they was using the Julian calendar, would he know what day of the week that was? Come. But was the Julian calendar, why was the Julian calendar changed? Because that's a lot of people's argument, well, we changed from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar now because the Julian calendar was off. So they had to take some days off so the Sabbath changed. That's the argument that they're putting forth. Here's a picture of a basic calendar. Actually, this is the calendar for the new year next year. Now, they say the Julian calendar was off. And they had to take off days to bring it up to date. How many minutes, hours, or days was the Julian calendar off? Who knows that? That's their argument. The Julian calendar had 365.25 days. The Gregorian calendar had 365.4 days, something like that. The Julian calendar was off by 11 minutes. 11 minutes. It was off. Now you count from the time that they brought in the Julian calendar in 45 BC to when they adopted the Gregorian calendar in, what year was that? 1582. And you would see from 45 BC up until 1582 that there was a difference of 11 days. 11 days they had to adjust. So how did they adjust it? How did the Sabbath change from Friday sundown? Because they said, well, Friday sundown was a Sabbath, right? So now that we adopted the Gregorian calendar, we got to take some days off. So now the Sabbath is going to change. How did they take the days off? did they say, well, you know what? The Sabbath is here, so we're going to move it back 11 days. Did they move it back 11 days like that?
No.
No. What did they actually do? In this calendar here, it ends over here on Sunday the 31st. So what they did was they subtracted 11 days and made that the end of the month. So in other words, instead of being the 31st, they would say, well, we take off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days. And they made this the end of the month, and they started their new calendar over here. They didn't move the Sabbath day. So from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar, the Sabbath never changed. It was always Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. It's just the number of the days when they did the change that it affected. Not that the Sabbath moved from Friday to Monday. Doesn't make any sense. So today that we use the Gregorian calendar, the Sabbath remains the same. Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. Come?
Come.
How else do we find out when our year begins? We're going through a little, astrology today. It's going to be an astrology class, learn about the moon, the sun, and different stuff like that. What is a sign of the new year?
When everything is growing, when everything comes back to life, like plants and stuff.
Okay.
Season change?
Yeah, he said that, but we're dealing with the celestial.
The stars in the hemisphere changes when the season change.
What do they call that?
Astrology.
Everybody should know that.
When Christmas comes around, what do they use to call it?
Saturnella.
What's another name for that?
Well, it's not same day, isn't it? It's not.
Oh, the solstices.
The winter solstice?
So winter solstice, right? Each season has a name. What was spring called?
Spring equinox.
The vernal equinox. Con? Each season has a different name. So if you wanted to know when your new year is, you would have to check out when the vernal equinox is. Who knows the vernal equinox for next year? March the 20th. March the 20th. Now, would March the 20th be the new year? Why not?
Because it wouldn't add up to,
No. Why wouldn't March the 20th be a new year? We got the calendar right here. Zoom in on this right here.
Because
This is March the 20th right here, 2013. The vernal equinox. Why wouldn't this be the new year? Go ahead, Dawayad.
because New Year's falls on every first of the month, and it also calculates the Passover, which is the beginning of the month.
no,
Go ahead, Dawayad.
because you count 14 days from the New Year, so count 14 days
No.
back from the Passover.
No. Who else we got back there? Who wants to give it a shot?
What's the question?
I think
The vernal equinox is on the 20th
Right.
of March. Why isn't that the new year?
Because it's only 4 days before the Passover.
All right, love.
Come on now. It's right there in front of you. Ah, we have a scholar.
14 days back.
Notice here, the 20th. Where's the new moon? The new moon is on the 10th.
I just said it wrong.
Yeah. The vernal equinox is the beginning of spring, not the beginning of the year. For you to get the beginning of the year, you have to go back. Would you go forward?
No.
Whenever Israel calculates its feast days, do they go forward from a date or do they go back?
Forward.
Forward? Who said forward? You go forward?
Yeah.
No.
Go backwards.
Let's find out what we do. Let's go to Leviticus 23 again.
But, Brother, is
Yeah.
there a difference between going backwards and forward? So we go forward.
Not when it comes to calculating high holy days.
Oh.
We'll find out right now. Read Leviticus 23 and let's start at verse 26.
Leviticus verse 23 and 26. And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, also on the 10th day of this 7th month there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be a holy convocation unto you. And ye shall afflict your souls, and offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High. And ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Most High of your power.
So what day is that? What day is the Day of Atonement? What day is the Day of Atonement? We just read it.
It's on the 9th day of sundown, the 7th month.
What?
It's on the
We just read it.
The 10th day of the 7th month at sundown.
The 10th day. Con?
Con.
Read on. Remember that day. The 10th day.
For whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted in the same day, he shall be cut off from among his people. And whatsoever soul it be that doeth any work in that same day, the same soul will I destroy from among his people. Ye shall do no manner of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls in the 9th day of the month at even. From even unto even shall ye celebrate your Shabbat.
So, what day is the Day of Atonement? What day? Nobody in here knows their high holy days?
It's the 10th day of the 7th month.
The 10th day of the 7th month. So if it's the 10th day, do you go forward to the new moon that's ahead of it? I mean, not the new moon, but to sundown ahead? Or do you go back? What did the scripture say to do? If you're calculating the day to celebrate a feast day, the Day of Atonement is on the 10th day. When do you begin to celebrate it? What did they say?
9th day of the even.
On the 9th day. You go back. Because our days don't begin at midnight. Our days begin at evening. From evening unto evening. So even though the high holy day is on one day, like the Sabbath is actually on what day?
From Friday evening to
Saturday, right?
Yeah.
But do you begin celebrating the Sabbath on sundown Saturday?
No, the beginning of the
sundown Friday.
On the beginning of Saturday, which is After Friday, sundown.
So do you start before or after?
You start on the day. You start on the beginning of the day, which is sundown Friday.
The day before. That's my point. You start celebrating sundown the day before. That's why I asked you, do you go forward or do you go back? When you're celebrating a day, you start the day, the sundown before. Just like we just read here. Y'all understand it?
Sundown before the light.
But you
Say
can't
before the
start
light.
before because the sundown is the Sabbath. So you start when the sun goes down. So that's the beginning of the day.
Use the term, they
You
start
can't
prepare for me the
You
day
can't keep
before.
the Sabbath day before the Sabbath day. You have to keep it on the day. So
Yeah, that's
when
what I'm
the sun
saying.
goes down,
My point is, our days don't begin at midnight. So when he said the 10th, when the 10th day, just like the new moon here is on the 10th day. Right? But it says the 10th. Actually, the new moon is on the 11th day. But we begin to celebrate it the day before.
Yeah, you prepare it that day.
Yeah, because remember the calendar I showed you earlier? This one here. Y'all can come and look at it later. This is the new moon for March. Right? You can see that, Ben?
Yeah.
What day does that say?
March 11.
March 11th. That's the universal day for the new moon. But when we are situated here in the East Coast, because this time zone here that they gather all this information from is from New Zealand. The time zone over there is different. So the sun is going to rise and set at a different time in New Zealand.
Right,
That's why,
they're closer to the east.
yeah, that's why they come up with March 11th. But because we're on the East Coast, the sun rises at a different time. So even though the new moon is on the 11th, and it says what hour?
1951.
The 19th hour, which is
That's
about almost 7:51 in the evening.
Almost 8 o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah. Now this here, this is the one here. This is kind of small. This is the moon phase calendar for the Eastern Hemisphere. And when you go to March, this is March the 11th right here. I don't know if you can see it, but what time does the moon rise over here?
So 5:59.
5:59 in the morning on the 11th. What day is 5:59 in the morning on the 11th? Which day is it actually? When did that day begin?
sundown the day before.
Sundown the day before. Exactly. So when did we start celebrating the new moon, which they celebrated on the 11th? Sundown the day before, on the 10th. That's why we say on the 10th, we begin to celebrate the new moon. Even though the international date is the 11th, because we're here on the East Coast, the moon rises before the sun go down. It's a little complicated. But that's how you determine when the new moon is, when your feast day starts. You don't go by what they put out there, because that's why the so-called Jews and everybody else, their feast days is always 2 or 3 days off from our feast day. You know? Because they calculate it in a different way. their moons. We're going to do a little common sense right here. I asked Quora earlier, what color is the new moon? What color is it again?
Dark, black.
It's all dark, right? Everybody agree on that?
Right.
Makes sense, right? New moon is all black. But in the world, when do they say the new moon is?
See the crescent.
When the first crescent comes in. This right here, which is all dark, it says right here, the new moon. It says it's the moon is illuminated, side is facing the earth. The moon is not visible except during a solar eclipse because it's all dark. If you look up, you could barely see the moon out there unless it's a clear night. But if you look on this side here, you will see a little crescent where the moon is starting to turn. They call that the new moon. How many days off is that? Maybe 1 or 2, maybe sometimes 3 days. Because how many days the new moon usually stay out there?
3.
No, not a week.
3 days.
Yeah, about 2 or 3 days. You will see the new moon out. Same with the full moon. The full moon would be out there sometimes 2 to 3 days. So you can't start your high holy days when they say the new moon is. You gotta use common sense. The new moon is when it's all dark. It's not when it's a couple of days after or a couple of days before, but when the moon is fully dark, that's when you begin to count your days. Common sense. This bottle of water, right? How would I know if it's full? When it reaches the top. Not when it starts to pour over, then I say, well, after about 3 ounces pour over, now it's full. Or is it empty when there's still a quarter left in it? No. It's empty when there's nothing in it. It's full when it's up to the top. So the new moon, you begin to celebrate the new moon when it's all dark. Not the first crescent. The full moon is when the moon is fully illuminated. Not when it's shifted and there's a little crescent of dark on it. No, it doesn't make sense. There's nowhere in the scripture where it says that the new moon is the first crescent or the first light after the new moon. Doesn't make sense. But that's how we calculate our moons, our new moons. We use the solar calendar, the lunar calendar, and the international new moon calendar. Because the international new moon calendar tells you what day it comes in. You use the solar and lunar calendar for the zone that you're in, which is the eastern zone, to find out when the sun rises and the moon rises, to depend whether you're going to keep the new moon sundown that day or sundown the day before. Con?
Correct.
Everybody understand a little bit? All right, let's move on. Let's go to Hosea. We're gonna shift gears a little bit. So we're gonna close up here in a few. Hosea 2:11.
Reading out of Hosea chapter 2, verse 11. I will also cause all your mirth to cease, her feast days, her new moons, and her Shabbats, and all her solemn feasts.
Yeah. Most I say you're gonna cause it all to cease. Why would the Most High be saying that?
For one, Israel Israel never kept it well. He felt that they were not keeping it with joyfulness of heart.
Yeah.
They were not happy to keep it. They're like waiting for the Sabbath to go down so they could go do their business and stuff.
Yeah, they was doing it in wickedness. You know, so the Most High hated that thing, you know. Better yet, let's read that in Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 9. Read from 9 down to 19. We're going to see why the Most High said he hate our feast days. Not all of us, you know, but a lot of us.
Okay, reading Isaiah chapter 1, verse 9. Except the Most High of hosts had left unto us a very small remnant, we should have been as Sodom, and we should have been like unto Gomorrah. Hear the word of the Most High, ye rulers of Sodom. Give ear unto the law of your power, ye people of Gomorrah. To what purpose is the multitude of your sacrifices unto me, says the Most High? I am full of the burnt offerings of rams and the fat of fed beasts. And I delight not in the blood of bullocks, or of lambs, or of he-goats. When ye come to appear before me, who hath required this of your hand, to tread my courts? Bring no more vain oblations. Incest is an abomination unto me. The new moons and Sabbaths, the calling of assemblies, I cannot away with. It is iniquity, even a solemn meeting. Your new moons and your appointed feasts, my soul hateth.
You hear that? Our new moons and our feasts. The Most High said he hate them. Why would he say such a thing? Read on.
They are a trouble unto me. I am weary to bear them. And when ye spread forth your hands, I will hide mine eyes from you. Yea, when ye make many prayers, I will not hear. Your hands are full of blood. Wash ye, make you clean. Put away the evil of your doings from before mine eyes. Cease to do evil. Learn to do well. Seek judgment. Relieve the oppressed. Judge the fatherless. Plead for the widow.
Yeah.
Come now, and let us reason together, says the Most High. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool.
19.
If ye be willing and obedient, ye shall eat the good of the land.
Yeah. So why does the Most High hate our new moons and feast days? Because of the evil that we've been doing. He says, we don't seek judgment. We don't relieve the oppressed. We don't judge the fatherless. We don't plead the cause of the widows. These are all things that we're supposed to be doing. We go out there and we teach. And what do? We destroy our people. You have camps that go out there and every other word after the Most High is a cuss word. You think the Most High agrees with that? He don't. There are camps out there that all they can do is oppress our people instead of healing them. Is the Most High happy with their feast days? I'm sure they keep the new moons and the Passover and all on the Sabbath. They're doing it in vain. Most High said that in Mark 7. They're worshiping him in vain. When they go out there and destroy his people, when they profane his word with curses, when they degrade our people, Most High said, speak comfortable to his people. If you're not doing that, you're not doing his will. If you're mixing evil and good, cursing with the words of the Most High, you're doing evil in the sight of the Most High. He don't want your sacrifice. He don't want your new moons. He don't want to see you on the Passover in your garment. He don't want that. He said he hated it. So until Israel, I know we like to put everything on our people out there in the world and on the other nations, but this is talking about Israel. We're the only ones here keeping the new moon and the Passover. This is who he's talking about. Until we get right with him and start doing the things we need to be doing and building our people up instead of oppressing them, we're keeping his feast days in vain. With that, I'm going to say shalom.
Shema Yasharallah Yahweh Allah Yahweh Yahweh Shema Yasharallah Yahweh Allah Yahweh Shema Yasharallah Yahweh Allah Yahweh Hear, O Israel,